Now having finished Dispatch, I thought it'd be cool to put all my thoughts and reactions from each session together and see my whole playthrough develop over time in one video. I avoided showing any big moments or reveals in this, in case you're trying to use this as a review. Let me know down below if you like this style of video, and let's get to dispatching. One of my first reactions to playing Dispatch was, wow, there is a lot of accessibility settings here. I feel like most games I'll play with subtitles have an option to either turn it on or off, but the buck really stops there. In Dispatch though, you can have subtitles animate, have a background, or even choose to include the speaker's name. And that's not even all the options. There's 11 accessibility settings here altogether that so far I think really help enhance the experience to what you want. Another aspect that is sure to come up in the discussion of accessibility with this game is its schedule of only releasing 2 episodes per week over the course of 4 weeks. I can understand people wanting to see the whole package before deciding to make their purchase or not, but I think the choice by the team to release this way is more in the favor of the narrative style they're aiming for, rather than a desire to spoon-feed content. But what do you think? Dispatch has actual gameplay beyond decision-making and quick-time events. Now, I don't want to say that these 2 mechanics have necessarily plagued the genre, but it certainly has been a struggle for these kinds of titles to have engaging narrative design. Dispatch's answer to that seems to be exactly as the title says. You work as a superhero dispatcher, needing to pick the right hero for each job, depending on their traits, and then check in with them afterwards for a debrief. This was relatively simple so far, as the sequence in episode 1 is only the tutorial level for it, but I think it's an essential part of accentuating the workplace comedy meets superhero genre that Dispatch is going for. Episode 2 of Dispatch was phenomenal. Even with the Z-Team clocking in at 8 members, the devs ensured we had already met a lot of these characters before dispatching. So while they are a lot to handle, I was already familiar with most of our crew. And unique gameplay mechanics for each hero like sonar changing forms, in conjunction with skill points to allocate after level ups, really sold this system as a whole to me. Glad to see there's a lot more here than what was presented in the tutorial for last episode. I'm a sucker for redemption arcs, so I'm really looking forward to making an impact on these villains turned supposed heroes, even if for now one of them disobeyed my orders. While I liked episode 1, this episode gave me that special feeling I don't get often playing games these days. Beyond Clair Obscur this year, I can't really remember the last game that's made me feel this way. I'm giving episode 2 a rating of thriving, and if you like journals like this one, dispatch a hero to follow for more. Episode 3 of Dispatch felt like it was mostly to progress character relationships further, but I think that totally makes sense in a narrative format like this. The game is focusing on Invisigal a lot more than the rest of the crew so far, but there is still a lot of great banter here between the rest of the group, in cutscenes and in dispatching. Gameplay continues to evolve in this one, with the change in this episode being the heroes sabotaging each other in an effort to not be at the bottom of the rankings, which makes it all the more impactful in the small moments that they can put their bickering aside. I think narrative design is really sticking out as a strong aspect of the game so far, and I'm giving episode 3 a rating of thriving. Episode 4 of Dispatch is where I felt like, for me at least, dispatching itself is the best part of the game. There's so many things working together here to really make one cohesive system. It's not just hero traits, it's those traits increasing with each skill point you assign. It's those traits decreasing if your heroes fail the call, and if that happens twice, they're unusable for the rest of the sequence. It's disruptions on calls forcing you to adapt, and hero training giving your team members new powers. I'm still missing some things in this equation, but you get my point. Any 1 or 2 or even 3 of these on their own would be good, but them all being here in a single package working together is what I think makes Dispatch truly great. It's no wonder I've had multiple comments talking about how cool it'd be to have a dedicated endless mode for dispatching. Clearly, a lot of thought was put into making this system fun for players, while also making them think. Do you have any more thoughts on the gameplay of Dispatch? Let me know down below. Episode 5 of Dispatch was the best one since 2 for me. Without spoiling anything, the club scene and resolution afterwards with the Z-Team had me locked in and then tearing up in that order. Really enjoying the writing overall so far in this game. Dispatching had a blackout this episode, which meant a lot more hacking than usual, but as I've almost come to expect at this point with Dispatch, there's some new wrinkles added into the gameplay. This one has you using electricity to create new paths and neutralize viruses, eventually returning power to the grid in torrents. With only a few episodes left for me to play, I'm starting to wonder how this season will end. If the last episode of Dispatch made me tear up, Episode 6 had me crying in the club. If you know, you know. Story and gameplay were both very tense this episode, with heated exchanges at the party, and a lot of timed hacking sequences. I was actually down to my final attempt on the last bit, but after locking in, I made it out alive. Overall, I've been letting each episode sit a bit after I finish to let things process, but this was especially true for this one. Dispatch Episode 7 felt like the perfect follow-up to Episode 6's emotional conclusion. While the gang is still reeling, the story expands meaningfully on integral relationships and loads into action right afterwards. While this session only had one dispatching shift, I think it totally makes sense narratively speaking. With the stage set for its climax, I'm very curious how Ad Hoc brings their first season to a close. Dispatch may not have snuck in a Game of the Year nomination due to its release timing, but to me, this was my Game of the Year. Episode 8's dispatching section truly felt like a culmination for that aspect of the game, and while QTEs didn't show up much in this game overall, their appearance in this episode certainly accentuated an already amazing final battle. I upgraded to the deluxe edition this morning to check out some of the art book and comics, and I'm stoked for Season 2 if Ad Hoc confirms it. For now, I'm giving Session 8 a rating of Shining, and follow to see the next game we'll be playing on the page here.